Hey there, Heather. Ho there. It's Jeff Conrad. Welcome you to another Stone Cold Hockey series. Now, when I looked at all my NHL seasons and all that, and to install a season, I found out that somehow I forgot I had actually bought the 78-79 WHA season. So I've done that. So, like the other years, I'm going to do a mini tournament. Teams are unseeded. I don't know the seeding. So, strange as it was, this was the last year for the World Hockey Association before four of its teams would merge to the NHL: Winnipeg, Edmonton, Quebec, and New England. Well, turned out to be Harvard. But the funny thing was, of this, there's 9 teams in this: Birmingham, Cincy, and Indianapolis, who all were there. Indianapolis actually lasted till halfway through the 1978 season and then folded. Their players would move to either Cincy or Birmingham. Well, I mean, dispersal draft. Cincy and Birmingham were paid some money to fold their players because of the 4 teams. And the Czechs and Soviets would actually play games against the WHA squads that counted. So I'm going to do a tournament based on it. And Winnipeg and Indy somehow drew each other to be matchups. The other 7 teams are in the quarterfinals. So, yes, the Czech national team and the Soviet national team are in here. So, anyway, let's play. First game was Indy winning in overtime as Gary Innes beats Marcus Matson. Winnipeg goes by Morris Lukowich, Mike Amadeo, Kent Nielsen, and Bobby Hall. Yeah, Bobby Hall, indeed. Whereas Indy goes by Larway, Clyde St. Sauveur, former Minnesota North Star, Willie George, I guess is what his name is, St. Sauveur, and then a power play by Larway from Sarachek, as Indy wins the game 5-4. Yeah, Kent Nielsen, great player and all that. I think he played for the Flames, didn't he? Nielsen? Yeah. Bobby Hall, of course, went back to the NHL as a member of the Jets after the Blackhawks. Winnipeg won game 2 4-1. Smatson beats Innis. Indigo by Marato, but both Lukowich, Gray, Rich Preston, former Chicago Blackhawk, and Lukowich would score. Funny thing about Boris Lukowich, his brother Ed Lukowich was a 2-time Canadian champion curler. Game 3 sees Winnipeg shut down Indy 7-0. Lukowich with a hat trick. A natural hat trick at that. Kent Nielsen, then Lesek, Sullivan, and then Lesek. Bill Lesek. Was he a Blackhawk one time, Lesek? I can't remember, but Lukowich with the hat trick. Game 4 sees Winnipeg go to Indy win 5-3. Matson beats Innis. Indy goes by Sakrak, McGregor, and Morato. Winnipeg goes by Gray, Nielsen, Lukowich again, Sullivan, and Ruskowski, former Blackhawk. So yeah, Lukowich looking pretty good. Game 5 saw Indy win 7-5 as Innis beats Gary Suitcase Smith, who played for Winnipeg. Winnipeg goes by Lukowich, Sullivan, Lesek, Gwindon, and Lesek. So yeah, Lukowich looking good. Indy goes by McGregor, Glenn McGregor, Morato, Burgess, Morrow, Larway, McGregor, and McGregor. So McGregor had a hat trick. And of course, you're going to be wondering, hang on, wasn't Wayne Gretzky on that team? And Ed Mio? Yeah, but they were traded to Edmonton. And the rules are, and there is a format in the playoffs that say final team. So if the final team thing, like me, does not get selected, then Gretzky and Mio are eligible for Indy, although they played for Edmonton at the end. So they'll be for Edmonton. We'll see how Gretzky does. Game 6 sees Winnipeg win in overtime. Smith beats Ennis. Indy goes by Claude LaRose, former Seal, and Larway. Gray, Sullivan, and then very long scored for Gwindon. So Winnipeg goes to the quarterfinals, and they'll face Birmingham. New England will play the Soviets. The Czechs will play Edmonton, and Quebec will play Cincinnati. It's kind of weird. The 4 NHL ready teams are facing 4 non-NHL teams. Anyway, first game, New England Soviets. New England wins in overtime as Garrett beats Michigan, who was the backup goalie for the Soviets in 1980 American Ice, to John Garrett. Russia goes by Skortsov twice. Lyle Mark Howe, or is it Marty Howe? I don't know. Scoring, and then Jeff Carlson. I gotta check the New England ones. Mark Howell, because are there two Howells? There's Mark Howell. There's Mark and Marty. Damn. Because the stupid box score has M Howell. You don't know which one's which. And Jack Carlson, one of the Slapshot boys. Jackie Carlson scoring from Gordie Howe. So one of the Howells scored. Czechs in Edmonton. Edmonton beats the Czechs 10-2 as Surhat, from her future Leaf goalie, gets shelled Dave Dryden. Not Ken Dryden, but Dave Dryden, 10 goals. 10-2. Czechs goal by Solaka and Bezek. Edmonton goals by Barry, Dave Langevin, Blair McDonald, Ron Chipperfield, Steve Carlson, Peter Driscoll, the immortal Peter Driscoll, Stan Weir, Langevin, Gretzky, and then Semenko. Yes, that Dave Semenko. So 9 different Oilers scored, and Langevin scored twice. So yeah, 9 different Oilers with a goal. Quebec City sees Quebec win 7-3. Corsi, Gagné, Dion, Perdue. Michel Dion would go on to play for the Nordiques in their inaugural NHL season in 1980. Jim Corsi would be a soccer player in the North American Soccer League. Cincy goes by Thomas, Robbie Furtoric, yeah, the future NHL coach, and Thomas. Quebec goes by Real Cloutier, Real Leduc, Pauline Boudreau, that's his name, is Boudreau, Serge Bernier, Marc Tardif, and Kurt Brackenberry, trying to get Reggie Leduc, trying to get a non-Quebecer team. I wonder how many Quebecois were on the team. Non-Quebec. Paul Baxter, Bob Fincher, Brackenberry, Dale Hoganson, Wally Weir, Kevin Morrison, Richard David, Jim Dory. So about 8 or 9. Anyway, Birmingham Winnipeg game 1. So Winnipeg win in overtime. Matson beats Ernie Winkley. Birmingham? Hell yeah. So Matson doing his job. Birmingham goes by Aduro Rick 5. Yep, Baby Bulls at future Toronto Maple Leaf. Rick 5 again, and then Louis Slager, who's a goon. Winnipeg goes by Ruskowski, Moffat again, Moffat. This Moffat guy, 4 goals. Lane Moffat. Unbelievable. Bop. Bop. Oh, wait, the Moffats. What was their hit song? I don't know. But anyway, Czechs, Edmonton game 2 C's. Edmonton win by a tame score 3-2. Neil beats Surha. Czechs goes by Holly and Krugman. But Edmonton goes by Joe Micheletti. Yeah, the same guy who's on the Rangers broadcasts. Wayne Gretzky and Bill Cowboy Flett. Quebec City game 2 sees Quebec shut out 7-0. Richard Murder, future Canuck goalie of the 82 playoff run, doing it without Dion. Cloutier, Bernier, Cloutier, Baxter, Leduc, Cloutier. Real Cloutier with 4 goals in 1 game. Unbelievable. 5 goals in 2 games. Birmingham beats Winnipeg 5-3 as Wood beats Smith. Winnipeg goes by Nielsen, Roskowski, and Lukowicz, his 9th. O'Donoghue, Louis Slager, Craig Hartsburg, future North Stars defenseman. Stewart, the goals. And New England wins over the Soviets 5-2. Michigan losing the suitcase to Al Smith. Soviets goes by Koven and Kabanov. New England goes by Gordie Howe, Antonovich, Miller, Lyle, and Andre Lacroix. Yeah, Gordie Howe scoring a goal. Game 3, Quebec Cincy. So Cincy went on home turf. Mike Liut, future goalie for the Blues, who actually was the runner-up in the Hart Trophy race in 1981 to Gretzky, beats Corsi. Quebec goes by Tardif, and Blankenberry. Cincy goes by Thomas, Patorek, Mike Gardner. People forget he was a WHA player. Mike Gardner again, and then Thomas. What is it, Robert Thomas? This Cincy guy is? Reg Thomas. I don't know who he played for. The other game 3s. Winnipeg beats Birmingham 4-2. Matson beats Reagan. Winnipeg goes by Leszek, Lukowicz, and Preston. Lukowicz has 11 goals already. Alley and Slager for Birmingham. The Soviets win 3-1 against New England. Wow. Babrivko beats Garrett. Russia goes by Koven, and Popov. Gordie Howe scored for the Whale. Edmonton beats the Czechs 5-4. Surha loses to Mio. But the Czechs were up 3-0. Sahaka, Mika, and Hully. And then Bezek scored. Edmonton goes by Subchek, Gretzky, Subchek, Rod Chipperfield, the first Edmonton captain, and Subchek. Subchek comes out of nowhere and scores a hat trick. Game 4 is Birmingham Winnipeg first. Winnipeg in overtime. Madsen beats Wakely. Birmingham goes in regulation by Paul Henderson. Yeah, that Paul Henderson with both goals. He played for the Toronto Toros, who became the Birmingham Bulls. Real original nickname change. Winnipeg goes by Sullivan and Lukowicz, and then Terbench scores from Sullivan. What a weird name. The Soviets beat the Whale 3-2 as Babricko beats Garrett. Russia goes by Makarov, Koven, and Slipchenko. New England goes by Brad Selwood and Blaine Stoughton, future Hartford Whalers superstar. Edmonton sweeps the Czechs 5-1 as Dryden takes down Surha. Czechs goes by Kirkmont, but Ron Chipperfield, Claire Alexander, Peter Driscoll, Rod Chipperfield, and Dave Barry, I guess it is, with the goals. No points for Gretzky. That's amazing. Anyway, Quebec City Game 4 sees Quebec win 2-1 as Brodeur beats Dion. Hislop scored for Cincy. He would soon become a Quebec player, but Real Cloutier and Bill Fitchner for Quebec. Does Winnipeg win Game 5? Yes, they do. 6-3 over Birmingham to move on. Matson beats Reagan. Winnipeg goes by McKinnon, Lukowicz, Bruskowski, Lukowicz, Nielsen, and Gray. So Lukowicz has 14 goals. Amazing. Birmingham goes by Casalato, Slager, and Dillon. Louis Slager, 4 goals. Nice. Quebec beats Cincy 6-2, so they're in the semifinals. Of course, he beats Liout. Cincy goes by Barry Melrose. Yeah, that Barry Melrose from the 93 Kings coach. And Paul Marsh. Quebec goes by Danny Sheffrion. Boom Boom Sheffrion's son played in the WHA? Really? Wow. Serge Berdier, Real Cluche, Francis Lacombe, and Paulin Boudreau. The other series, New England wins in overtime with the Soviets 2-1. Michigan loses to Smith. Kapustin scored for Russia, but then Mike Rogers scored at 16:51 of the third, and in overtime, Antonovich from Mark Howe. I think it was Mark Howe. Game 6 sees the Soviets win 6-0. Michigan shuts them down. Volchkov, Kapanov, Skortsev, Tumanov, Skortsev, Volchkov. This would be amazing if New England wins. New England better win. They do, 5-1. Russia scores on Koven's goal, but Lyle, Markel, Keon, there's Davey Keon, former Leaf icon, John Pye McKenzie, former Bruins icon, and Blaine Stoughton scoring the goals. So, no surprise, the 4 surviving teams are the 4 teams that went to the the NHL. Edmonton will play Winnipeg, New England versus Quebec. So we'll have at least one Canadian team in this thing. Game 1 sees Winnipeg win 4-1. Madsen beats Meal. Winnipeg goes by Preston, Erickson, Kent Nielsen, and then Lezak, Brett Callaghan for Edmonton. And Winnipeg had to go through a elimination against Indy. Quebec beats New England 4-3. Brodeur beats Garrett. New England goes by Hal, John Warner, and Mike Rogers. I don't know which Hal. I think it's Mark Hal. Quebec goes by Paulin Boudreau, Real Cluche, and Bill Fitchner. Cluche is trying to catch Lukowicz. Game 2 sees New England win 7-2. Garrett beats Corsi. Quebec goes by Real Cluche and Bill Fitchner. New England goes by Hal. Hal with 4 goals. Mike Rogers with 2. No, 3. So I think Mark Hal had 4 goals in one game, and then Mike Rogers with a hat trick. So 2 hat tricks. I think, right? Yeah, Mark Hal has 7 goals. So Mark Hal with 4 goals in one game in the game, and so it's Mike Rogers with a hat trick. So that's weird. 2 hat tricks. Game 2 sees Edmonton beat Winnipeg 5-4 as Walsh. Walsh beats Madsen. Winnipeg goes by Ruskowski, Campbell, Sullivan. Edmonton goes by Paul Schmier, Stan Weir, Paul Schmier again, and then Gretzky with a pair of goals, finally scoring some points, some goals. Game 3 sees Winnipeg wins 6-5 as Madsen beats Dave Dryden. Edmonton goes by Ron Chipperfield, Stan Weir, Claire Alexander, Dave Langevin, and Cowboy Flett. Winnipeg goals by Kent Nielsen, Preston, Kent Nielsen, Morris Lukowich, and Lukowich, who's now got 16 goals. New England, Quebec sees New England beat Quebec 7-2. Again, Smith beats Brodeur. Quebec goals by Real Cloutier and Mark Tardif. Mike Rogers, Plum, Rick Lay, who was a defensive star, Anton Vedovich, John Carlson, no, Jeff Carlson, sorry, Mike Rogers, and then Rick Lay again. Game 4 sees Quebec win 5-2, so it's 2-2. Corsi beats Smith. New England goes by Mark Howell, his 8th Hedelsplin. Quebec goes by Tardif, Richie Leduc, Clint Beckberry, and Serge Barnier. The other ones, Edmonton beat Winnipeg 5-3 to force at least a game 6. Dryden beats Madsen. Winnipeg goes by Sullivan, his 8th. Bobby Hall finally scoring a goal. Kent Nielsen, his 9th. Edmonton goes by Clubboy Flett, Baron McDonald, Wayne Gretzky, and Brett Gallahan. Game 5 sees Edmonton beat Winnipeg 8-2. Dryden beats Smith. That's Dave Dryden, of course. Winnipeg goes by Moffat and Kent Nielsen. Edmonton goes by Ron Chipperfield, Brett Callahan, Paul Spear, Dennis Sobchak, Blair McDonald, Bill Cowboy Flett, and then Sobchak. I think it's just not scoring goals. The other game 5 sees New England win en prolongation. Smith beats Brodeur. Quebec goal. New England was up 3-0. It's Gordy Roberts, who have his card with the Penguins. Blaine Stoughton and Dave Keon. Well, his card in 91 with the Penguins. Blaine Stoughton and Dave Keon scored. And then Quebec tied it up. Bill Fitchner, Richie Leduc, and Mark Tardif. But in overtime at 5:31, thanks to a Ellen Kolte penalty, Antonovich from Gordy Roberts. So does Edmonton win game 6? The answer is no. Winnipeg wins. Madsen takes on Mio. Yeah, Winnipeg's played a lot more games than the other 3 teams are. They had to go through a preliminary round. Wayne Gretzky, Sobchak, and Brett Callahan scored. Winnipeg goals by Lance Moffat, Morris Lukowich, Terry Ruskowski, Morris Lukowich, Kent Nielsen, Pat Sullivan, and then Willie Lidstrom finally scoring a goal. In the meantime, New England overtime over Quebec, so they're in the finals. John Garrett beats Richard Brodeur. Quebec goes in regulation by Real Cloutier and Mark Tardif. Dave Keon and Mark Howe scored for New England until overtime when Carlson at 13-19 from Matanovich and Mike Rogers. In game 7, we'll see Winnipeg. They had to go through a preliminary round to get to the quarterfinals. They win 5-2 over Edmonton. Winnipeg goes by Rich Preston, John Gray, Rich Preston, Paul Sullivan, and then Sullivan again. Edmonton goes by Sobchak and Gretzky. So New England and Winnipeg are in. New England, Al Smith 5-2, John Garrett 3-3. They took out the Soviets in the quarterfinals. They had to go to game 7 to do so. They took down Quebec in 6, and then now they got Winnipeg. Mark Howell leads in points with 21, Dave Keon with 12, Mike Rogers, Gordy Roberts, and Mike Antonovich with 9 each. Mark Howell with 9 goals, Rogers with 7. Mark Howell with 12 assists. Quebec. Oh, no, not Quebec. Winnipeg. They had to go through the preliminary round against Indy in 6 games. Then they took down Birmingham in 5 and Edmonton in 7. Marcus Matson 11-3. Gary Smith 1-3. So I guess Matson's carrying the team. Peter Sullivan with 29 points. Morris Lukowich with 28. Terry Ruskowski with 23. Lukowich has 18 freaking goals. Well, 18 goals in 18 games. Yeah, 18 goals in 18 games. Nielsen and Peter Sullivan with 11 each. The goals race, Lukowich leads with 18. Nielsen and Sullivan, Markow with 9. Whites wise, Sullivan's got 29, Lukowich 28, Ruskowski 23. How's got 21? John Garrett, the best by goals against average. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. New England, Winnipeg game 1 sees Winnipeg win in overtime. Matson beats Smith. New England goes by Mike Rogers, John Mahay McKenzie, and Antonovich. Winnipeg goes by Campbell, Lidstrom, and Amadeo. But in overtime, Lidstrom on the power play after Miller got called for tripping from Gwendon and Lukowich. Game 2 sees New England win 7-4. Smith beats Joe Daly. Winnipeg finally gets Joe Daly up there against Al Smith. Winnipeg goes by John Gray. Morris Lukowich is 19th. Moffat and Ruskowski. New England goes by Keon, Lay, Markel, Audrey Lacroix, Antonovich, Markel, and then Antonovich. 7-4. Game 3. Sees New England in overtime. Smith beats Daly. Winnipeg goes by Lidstrom, Lukowich, and Lessig. New England goes by Mike Rogers, Brad Selwood, and Gordy Roberts in regulation. And then under Lacroix in overtime from Antonovich. Game 4 sees Winnipeg win there 2-2. Matson beats Smith. New England was up 2-0. McKenzie and Lacroix by Lukowich, Sullivan, and Preston scoring for Winnipeg. 2-2 tie. Winnipeg wins 4-1 in Game 5. Matson beats Garrett. New England only go by Carlson, but Sullivan, Lukowich, Sullivan, and Nielsen were scoring for Winnipeg. And finally, Game 6. Is it over? No, it's not. New England forces a Game 7. Smith beats Smith. Winnipeg goes by Preston, Lukowich, and Lukowich. Lukowich, 24 goals. Amazing. Like a 24 games. New England goes by Howell, McKenzie, Howell, Antonovich. Game 7. Oh, boy. Well, we're going to... How much time here? Yeah, we're going to play Game 7. Why not? So you have Al Smith versus Marcus Matson to do his job and all that. So let's start. 6 minutes into the first. Aggression, injury. Well, Winnipeg's getting penalty. Rich Preston. And it's yours. Jim Warner. One of the brothers from Mark Howard, Pi McKenzie scoring. 1-0. 5 minutes later. No shot. 4 minutes later. Score! Davey Keon. Still got the spark. His fifth from Gordie Howe and Mike Rogers. 2-0 Whalers. 2 minutes later. Nope. And New England looking like they're going to track down Winnipeg. If you look at these guys in real time, they actually were only separated by 1 point. 4 minutes into the second. Winnipeg a chance? No. Battle, Enforcer, it's a fight. It's Hagelsman and Claxon. Both not really known for their offense. Winnipeg able to hit on Rich Preston. Actually, Winnipeg a chance. Lukowich, trying to score. 5 minutes later. Chance for Winnipeg score. John Gray. Touch of Gray from Lars Erik Schulberg. And it's 2-1. This game's close. We go to the third period. New England 2, Winnipeg 1. This is going to be interesting. 5 minutes later. Winnipeg Jets tie score. Bill Lezek, his 8 from McKinnon and Hicks. And Winnipeg's tied it. 2 minutes later. Winnipeg score. Lyle Moffat. The Moffat. From Scott Campbell and Paul Terterbush. And Winnipeg's up 3-2. Oh boy. 4 minutes later. Battle. There's another fight. Long and Plum are fighting. They don't really. Forcer. And then get over the hit. 5 minutes later. Take a shot. Redstone gets hit. New England needs to do something here. And it's an empty net. Bill Lezek, his second of the night, and Winnipeg is going to win the championship. They had to go through a preliminary round against Indy to make the quarterfinals, and they did it. The Winnipeg Jets, just like in real life, are an AFCO Cup champions. They take down New England 4-2. What a win for the Winnipeg Jets. Matson 15-3. Gary Smith 1-4. Joe Daly 0-2. But Marcus Matson, like, dude, he carried the Jets. Lukowich with 37 points to lead. Peter Sullivan second with 35. Kent Nielsen, Terry Ruskowski with 27. Other players with a point. Rich Preston, Bill Lezek, Lyle Moffat, Willie Lindstrom, Barry Long, Bob Gwindon, John Gray, Paul McKinnon, Paul Terterbush, Mike Amadeo, Scott Campbell, Kim Claxton, Glenn Hicks, Bobby Hall only 4 points. He was really quiet. But he wasn't really on the team that well. Roland Erickson, Steve West, and Marks Eric Schulberg. Yeah, he wasn't around for a long time. That was weird. But Lukovic, 24 goals in 25 games? 11. Yeah, 25 games. So 24 goals in 25 games for Lukovic. But yeah, he really stole the show in this WHA championship. So there. Anyway, I'm Jeff W.